You better say yes.
Yeah, I am,
Right,
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Okay, well,
yeah.
listen, they were on the show 3 weeks ago, and we asked Morrissey if he'd take us out to show us around his hometown. Now, he doesn't normally do this type of thing, but he said just for us he would do, so he's shown us around Stretford and Salford.
I'm the sun and the air, all the shyness that is criminally vulgar. I am sun and air of nothing. The place where I grew up no longer exists, apart from here in the local history library, photographic evidence of Queen Square in Old Trafford. This is where I grew up, and it was demolished in the late 1960s. And in a way, it was like having one's childhood wiped away. In Queen Square, my grandmother occupied the 4th house. We occupied the 5th house. And the 6th house was occupied by my mother's sister and her family. So it was a very strong community, and it was very tight, very solid, and it was also quite happy. Well, there's nothing at Queen Square now. As you can see, everything has just vanished. It's just like the whole thing has been completely erased from the face of the earth. I feel great anger. I feel massive sadness. It's like a complete loss of childhood, because although I've always lived in Manchester, and I've always lived relatively close to here, to this part of Manchester, now, when I pass through here, or even being here today, it's just so foreign to me. And that's quite sad, I think. The old St. Wilfrid's, the school that I went to for many, many years, once stood here. It was pulled down in 1969, which was a great shame because it was a school full of character. It was replaced by this new modern school.
Hello, Stephen. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Very pleased to hear about your success.
Oh, thank you.
Very good.
Looking at some of the...
Are you going through old times?
The old pictures here. He was saying that, that the building here, how it sort of brings back some of the memories, and how the children used to talk about the upstairs being haunted. It used to be sort of a little game that they...
So they said.
This is my secondary school, and I have very different feelings about the school than I do about St. Wilfrid's, the junior school. This was a very sadistic school, very barbaric, and by some strange miscalculation of nature or whatever, I ended up here. I don't know why. And 5 years of education here proved to have no effect upon me whatsoever, and I'm sure no effect upon anybody else, except certainly in a very adverse sense. Not to be recommended. I left Hume. I came to live in Stretford on a road called King's Road. I lived there for a very long time. It's quite bland, quite uneventful. There's not really a great deal to say about King's Road. I never had a social life. I never left the house. I just simply sat in and read and watched television and done all the things that in life are generally considered to be quite negative and quite soul-destroying. The only way that I could find any mental relaxation is to simply go out and walk, and to walk around these streets, which can seem quite depressing to most people and seem quite laughably simplistic. But for me, it was perfect fuel, because then I would go home and I would write furiously. And I found that, for me, it was a brilliant outlet. It was the thing that helped. But also, you have to have a grain of hope, which is a very difficult thing to have. I'm afraid, yes, I'm somewhat of a back bedroom casualty. I spent a great deal of time sitting in the bedroom writing furiously and feeling that I was terribly important and that everything that I wrote would go down in the annals of history or whatever. And it's proved to be quite true.
How much I really liked you, 'cause I never even told you all I meant to.
Now, for the very first time, I'm in a situation where I could leave the North and live in the place of my choice quite comfortably. But do I want to? I don't think I do. It's very difficult to say how things will be in the future because we tend to change our minds about places. But right now, I don't feel that I want to. I feel quite cemented, and I feel quite attached to all the things that I've known. Why? Who knows? This mystical bond, I really don't know. It's difficult to put it on the table and point at it.
I would